Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a minute since I've really updated you guys on the 7th gen, my 400 horsepower 7th gen. 400 to the crank. I'm going for like I wanted to get 400 wheel, but you know, it's been like 2 years since I made my first like planned video, and then that short update video I made a couple of months ago also. So there's a lot of things that have like kind of changed in my plan. Like the road has gotten a little bit more twisty and turns in terms of decisions on what I'm gonna do. But let's go ahead and I guess update you guys on what's gonna be happening with the Celica and what's happened and things I've done, because I haven't really done a lot of 7th gen content. And I've done a couple of new interesting things, and a couple of things in my plans have changed too. And we'll go with what I've spent so far on my budget as well. So this may or may not be a lengthy video, and I hope it's not. But anyway, stay tuned if you're interested in my 400 horsepower Celica, which hopefully we can get there and not blow up the engine and run it reliably. So let's get started. Alright, let's go ahead and just sign in here. Alright, I would do a screen record, but it's kind of a pain in the butt in order to do it. Because then I have to voice over with my mic and it might not sound that great. So we're just gonna do this kind of screen record, you know, with my camera actually recording my screen. So my Celica Turbo project, I have bought a lot, and this list has changed so much. So far I have spent 8,320 bucks, including my daily, which was like 1,600 bucks, but I never included like all the fixes and stuff I've done to it. So this is our total so far, and we're not that far away from finishing the car. And by we, I mean me and my buddy, basically. All I really need left, let's see if I actually wrote it down here. So basically just ignore all of this, because I'm not going to really count spark plugs because that's just maintenance. But I mean, this is basically what I need. But like the most key things that I still have left that I need to purchase are, I'm not going to end up going with that clutch. I'm just going to end up going with an MWR one, which is basically just as expensive. I still need to buy the fuel return system, because with a turbo system incorporated into an NA engine that was never meant to C-boost, it's a lot easier to tune for boost according to every single video and resource I've found online. So I need to have a return back into the tank so your fuel pressure and boost pressure don't interfere with each other while tuning, I believe. And I was gonna get an MWR forged flywheel, but that's $315. I found a competition clutch flywheel that's lightened at 10 pounds. Which is only like $280, which is like 40 bucks or 30 bucks that I'm saving that I can use for something else, and fuel injectors. So I'm gonna buy gaskets this week, which is something else I needed. But you know, the main things that I still have left. So I mean, as you guys can see, I'm really almost there, but I do have a lot of like expensive bits I need to purchase, which I'm trying to find the right lighting. I guess that works. I have a lot of like expensive bits I still need to buy, and they add up to a decent amount. Like the flywheel is $285, the clutch is like 400 bucks, the fuel return is almost $600, so it adds up to about like two and a half grand left. So I mean, we're almost done with the car, and in terms of a timeline, depending on my hours at work, because I'm not full-time because of school, because you know, I need to dedicate a lot of time to studying this stuff. If I'm going to be an engineer or a mechanical engineer at that, I need to know how to be able to calculate from the most basic things to the most complicated things in terms of like truss structures and such, or even more complicated I haven't even gotten to yet. So I'm dedicating a lot of time to that. So I'm trying to work as much as I can while not sacrificing my school, because you know, in terms of future projects, how am I going to get those done with no money and working part-time all the time? So that's pretty much it for what I have left. I have everything. In terms of things to do, let me fix the camera, it's kind of like offset. in terms of things to do, I have to finish cleaning my head. I completely disassembled that. If you didn't watch it, scroll through the channel. It's a couple of videos ago. So I took apart the head completely, and now I have to clean it and finish porting it. So other than that, after I'm done porting it, I'm probably gonna just port the exhaust side, because that's the side that's going to be feeding the turbo. The intake side is also supposed to be smooth, but you know, I just don't want to risk messing something up because I've never done it. I mean, then again, I've never done any of this, so fingers crossed I can build an engine and slam some boost into it and not blow it up. I should be able to. I'll be very cautious. But yeah, so I have that left. I have to port the head and finish cleaning it and put that back together, and then gap the rings in the block, which I'm not going to go with anything crazy. I have this little sheet that came with my Wiseco pistons that gives me like a description and a formula on how to calculate the end gap that I want. So I need to do my gap, and then after the gap I should be ready to put everything back together. So it's, I mean, in terms of just putting the engine together, I really don't have much left. All I have to do is, let me turn this off, it's annoying, it's messing up the lighting. So in terms of things I have to do, I only have to port and clean the head and put it back together, and then gap the rings, which isn't much, you know. So I mean, I can theoretically have the engine put back together, but I don't want to just put it back together, put it in the car, wait like a couple of months until I have the money for everything else, and then like the engine gets seized or something because there was no oil pressure anywhere else other than in the oil pan. So realistically, I'm close to like finishing everything. Maybe by the end of August I could have I'm gonna have like the parts and everything put back together. But that's basically what's going on with the 7th gen. Now let me show you what I've actually done to the 7th gen, because even though it's been parked, I've done little things here and there that I've been excited to show you guys. And I really should have made a video on I'm stuttering. I should have made a video on like everything that's going on. So let's start off with the simple things that new things that I got, I guess. So I kind of felt like I grew out of whatever, like the red and black scheme I had in the car. Like when I painted it a few years ago, I was really into like the red, because it was really close to the red that's outside, the absolute red or 3PO red. And I really liked it, but you know, that was in the past and I've kind of outgrown it. So I'm kind of respraying the interior and changing up pieces here and there to suit me now. I guess that are a little bit mature mods, but I feel like they look cool, and let's just get into it. And yes, it might be ricey, at least the headliner might be, which that's going to be its own video, just a heads up. So let me show you guys what I have here with me, and then we'll head out to the car and show you guys a couple of things I have for the car. Alright, so just starting off with things we have here. This is the center console, and I'm not sure if it'll come off on camera, but I resprayed this a darker red, and I think it looks pretty cool, a little bit more of a mature red in my opinion. And the biggest thing that's new with the car actually is, well, not with the car, but with the center console, is the AC climate controls. There's a guy on eBay that sells like little stickers that you can use, and these little stickers I use them as like, not templates, but just to block off the actual lettering on here. So when I actually do put the car back together and I'm driving it, I can still see what the AC controls are. It's not a big deal, but I just thought it was a cool little touch. And if you look really closely, they look freaking awesome, man. Let's get it to focus. They look really good. I really liked how they turned out. They're not perfect, and they were kind of a pain in the butt to put on, but you should probably prep the piece first and then put the stickers over it. I mean, it looks pretty good in my opinion. So I'll leave a link to these little templates down below in case you want to do your 7th gen center console this way and just keep these. instead of having like little squares, or I'll throw up a picture of how mine used to look when I first painted it. I've also ended up wrapping this in carbon fiber. It was a pain in the butt. It's not perfect, but I'm probably going to end up just painting it matte black because that's less of a pain in the butt and it looks less ricey. And I mean, this isn't perfect, and some of these bubbles are annoying me. So yeah, that's what I have in here. Now let's get outside to focus. Now let's get outside and look at what's new with the car. Also, just before we get out there, I kind of wanted to show you guys this. This is the valve cover for the 1ZZ. Obviously, that's, well, I only have a 7A and a 1ZZ because I only have 2 cars. And one of them's not working. But anyway, so I tried polishing part of it, and it worked relatively well, but I'm not sure what it is that's going on here. I'm guessing it's just imperfections in the casting. Like these cracks right here, if it'll focus in on the cracks. You guys see that? I tried sanding, but these would not come out. And then there's some minor, like, I don't know what it is, if it's oxidation that's embedded into the casting or whatever, but I could not get these out. I'm going to wet sand it a little bit more, like dry sand it, then wet sand it more, to see if I can get them out. But yeah, this is what I ended up going with as a theme, black and polished aluminum. I think it looks really cool, and it's probably going to look even cleaner when it's actually in the car with the engine built and it's going soo-too-too-too-too-too. I also kind of failed because I clear coated this and it ended up kind of ruining the polish I had. And I mean, I'm just going to make that its own video because well, polishing my valve cover, that's its own video. But I wanted to get this update video out for you guys first, and this side cleaned up pretty nice. I clear coated the whole thing glossy because I thought that would preserve the polish better, but instead it ended up making it have some kind of orange peel on it, and it ruined the matte black, which, I mean, it's not glossy. I guess it's more of a satin, but I really like the matte black that was on here, but it's whatever, I guess. Important thing is to make this glossy. Anyway, let's get out to the car now. Alright, so if you guys see that little bulge up top on the hood, that's kind of a sign of something that's new. Go down in the comments and guess what it is. Even though no one probably will, but yeah. Alright, let's get this thing uncovered and check it out. Well, that sucks. Believe it or not, this was actually perfect at one point. First off, I guess let me start by saying this is just a C1 replica hood scoop that I found at the junkyard for an awesome 15 bucks, because even the replicas go for like 112 bucks. And the fitment's okay. It's I kind of made the holes for the factory hood scoop. I extended them a little bit to the left so I could slide it over, and for the most part these ends right here line up pretty well. But unfortunately, I guess the clear coat hadn't cured, even though I left it like 2 days, and now it has this ugly pattern into it, which sucks. But I mean, it looks cool. I painted it. It was looking great. I don't know exactly what happened, if it just needed like a whole entire week to cure, even though I left it like 3 days. But that's that, I guess. I'll guess I'll redo it eventually, but I'll throw you guys a few pictures of how it actually looked like at one point. But yeah, I mean, that's cool because now you can literally fit a lot more air into there. And if you lift up the hood, so if you guys notice, that's gonna feed right to where the turbo goes, which is gonna be rad. And I think I lost a screw in the freaking hood. That's not good. Alright, that was disappointing, but oh well, what are you gonna do? I mean, if you school in person, it's much more noticeable than it is on camera, which sucks because I did spend a lot of time wet sanding and polishing it, but you can still see my reflection into it. There's a closer look at what the heck happened. I'm not sure if it just got too hot or it wasn't ready to get put on, but I'll end up redoing it, I guess, or maybe I can. No, I'm not gonna be able to wet sand that. Oh well, that sucks, but it looks pretty good, and it's gonna look even better when it's on the road. So that's the first thing that's new with the 710. Finally got Trd Side Skirts, and they're authentic side skirts, which is cool, and they're gonna look sick. If you have a celica with blown trunk struts, you should probably replace them because, and yes, I completely failed to unlock my trunk. It makes it so much easier to open the hatch, and yeah, I got new struts. I ended up just cutting the little stud off and then using a socket to take the little nut off, because Toyota basically wanted this to be impossible to remove, but luckily I didn't strip it or anything, and I didn't have that many issues. I just used the angle grinder and went to town with it, and I didn't mess anything up. Well, there's a few grinds right here. Let me show you guys the side I tried to take off with just a spanner wrench or a crescent wrench, or I forgot what I used. I think I used a wrench, but I don't know why this is just really weak back here, and even bent a little bit because I couldn't get the thing off with the wrench. So I ended up cutting it. I suggest you guys do the same. And now I have new hood struts and they work flawlessly. And you know, this is my trunk, my axles, my throttle body that I still need to clean. But it's so oxidated. I might polish this. But yeah. Let's get inside. For my wheels, I had a set of wheels that I was gonna paint and restore, and they were gonna look awesome because they weren't too flashy. But unfortunately, some lowlife literally creeped up all the way to my driveway and stole my stuff. Well, he only took 2 of them, which is so weird. Why not just take the whole set, dude? But that was really annoying, and I was so aggravated. And no, I haven't caught him. This was like 2 weeks ago, but live and learn, I guess, right? It's really annoying that people just come up and take your stuff, even though that's never happened to me before. But what are you gonna do? So I mean, I'm on the search for a new set of wheels that I'm just gonna save up, and like the set of wheels I want, not just the ones, you know, I can get. Peep the hood scoop, it looks so cool. But yeah, so that's what's going on with the wheels. All right. So it's been a minute since I was here the other day because I installed a couple of things. So you guys saw my steering wheel a couple of months ago. I was checking to see how the fitment was on this gauge pod I kind of made. This was just a universal 3 gauge pod pillar that I bought. Well, this is a stock pillar, and I kind of made holes behind it to feed the wires, and I was just testing to see how it actually looks. Oh my god, this is gonna be so hot, but this is just for you guys. So I was just checking to see how it looks, and you can see them all. I'll throw up a picture of how it actually ended up looking like, and it looks pretty cool. I even put the gauges in, even though obviously they weren't connected, but here's a pic of how everything looks like when it was like together. So yeah, I did that. On the carpets, these aren't authentic Toyota carpets, but that's okay because I love this little red on the outside of them. It goes with the car, and they say celica or celica on the sides. And thing was, like with every single carpet, including the stock ones, since my car is a Manuel, with my awesome Trd pedals. The problem was, since you know you always ride your feet on here. Oh god, that's so loose, I forgot, because there's no engine in it. Point is, since you always have your feet on here, that's a lot more slippery than I thought it'd be. Hopefully that won't be a problem later on. But point is, since your feet are always resting here, your heels end up digging into the carpet and making a hole, and it just ruins the carpet. So my carpet had a couple of like indents into it, really marked, and this just helps hide it, and I guess just give it a longer lifespan to the carpet. So yeah, and don't worry about these wires. This was my old ricer shelf with these underglow lights, which I'm actually gonna install a couple in the daily, and that should be interesting. I seriously drilled a hole and freaking zip tied these. Come on, younger self, you were smarter than that. Alright, inside the burning hell that is my 7th gen, because I can't roll down the windows because there's no battery or engine, I redid the headliner, and it's supposed to be the rising sun, and I added these little small lines in between, mainly for one reason, because I messed up and I had like some bubbling going on in the actual base suede material, and so I had to cut a slit, and I used these to cover it. Like I only had a slit, let me show you guys. I had a slit like right here, so I ended up using the raise to cover it, but then I kind of thought that would be a cool design and it would help cover up some of the cutting, and overall I feel like it came out pretty cool. It might be ricey, but I mean, when you're up front it just looks cool because it's actually a black headliner now, like a black base. Like if you look at the edges right here, it looks pretty cool. There's a side over there, and the backing, the back trim panels, holy crap, it was about time I painted those. Check them out. They actually look pretty good. There's not much of a gloss finish. I like the matte black. I think I mastered how to paint matte black and gloss black, even though I completely failed. Oh, look at that. You can even see the hood scoop from the driver's seat, which is super cool. Which I know some of you guys might say it's just a rep, but I mean, even though reps go for 150, 120 bucks, which is super expensive for just a freaking hood scoop, so I got lucky at pull apart and I got it for like 15 bucks, and it just looks awesome. I'm probably gonna I'm gonna repaint it because I didn't think it was gonna need that long to dry and then put it underneath the cover, you know. But I mean, that can wait. It's whatever now at that point. I redid it twice, so screw you, hood scoop. Even though you look cool. But my steering wheel is awesome. I can't wait to freaking drive this thing. God, I'm just as anxious as you guys are to see this thing turn on. And yeah, I also need to get rid of this freaking radio because it's the cheap Chinese one, and I mean, it works, but the fitment is very poor. I can't use a stereo install like dash thing on the sides, and because it needs to lean a certain way, and I can't even bolt it in because then it won't, like the center console, the trim won't fit right. So I need to get rid of that. But I mean, I really don't care. I will probably just take out the radio, put some kind of carbon fiber plate in its place, and just like say screw it until I can later on get it. That's been pretty much it, guys. I'm almost done with the car, luckily. I've done a lot to it, my ricer headliner, even though I think it looks pretty cool. It's not perfect, you know. This was my first, it's not real suede, it's like vinyl suede. You can find it at a store called Joann's, which is like it's like an art store, arts and crafts store, and they sell a ton of variety of things. And so yeah, I've done a ton of things to the 7th gen. I'm gonna be changing out all of this, like the bright red for like that darker maroon red. I'm probably gonna just take out this red stripe I did on the doors, even though I think it looks okay. But that's not really my main focus. Eventually I'll get to that, but at least the plan at the moment, oh my god, it's so hot in here, dude. The plan is I just need to get those 4 things, put it together, and fingers crossed it'll run right. If it runs right, I'm a little bit more comfortable because I've been watching a ton of videos on how to tune cars you know, ignition timing, how to retard timing, and when should you not retard it, and when should you add more fuel and such, you know, all of that tuning goodness. So we're gonna finish this car hopefully before the end of the year. I want to finish it because it's the 7th gen. It looks awesome, but it was never fast. Even the GTS, man, it's not fast. And this car will hopefully be fast as freak and blow my mind, and hopefully not have issues like a lot of cars do when you build them and then they keep breaking down and down and down. Also, I did buy a larger Chinese turbo, so if you go back and watch that video, I'm gonna use that turbo for a while, but I don't plan on running the car extremely hard on that turbo, because I don't want to get stranded somewhere with a jammed turbo and then this thing not being able to build boost, and you know, that situation. Ideally, obviously, I should have gone with a Turbonetics or a Borg Warner or a Garrett or some kind of brand name turbo, but I don't have that kind of money because I'm putting the money into the engine. But obviously, people are going to tell me, just do it right the first time. I know. But the point is, the Chinese turbos, I've seen a lot of people, I've talked to a few people. There's this really cool Celica 1ZZ GT on Instagram. Go follow this guy. I'll put up a picture of his profile. And he's been running a Chinese turbo for like 2 years, and he tracks his Celica, and he's had good luck with it. And I mean, obviously, you shouldn't push your turbo past what the manufacturer recommends. In my case, max speeding rods, the Chinese guys that make the turbo, say that the max PSI the turbo can make is 21 PSI. So I have a 12 PSI spring in the wastegate, and I don't plan on going past like 20 max. So you know, if I can get the tune to work right and nothing's running too lean or too rich. So that's going to be the plan eventually, relatively soon, I guess, for next year's tax season. I plan on getting either coilovers or I lost my train of thought. I plan on getting coilovers or a Borg Warner or a Turbonetics turbo, same size, you know, same flange size, but same journal bearing too. But you know, at least it's a reputable brand that I can trust. And you know, I did take this car on a road trip once before, and I'd like to be able to do that again without having to worry about, oh crap, is my turbo gonna blow up or something unreliable happens. But fingers crossed that Chinese Turbonetics max speeding rods turbo works for me, at least for a while. You know, a year or two would be nice if I can. I'm not going to be tracking the car 24/7 because, you know, for track days you need to pay, obviously, and I'm going to be paying off my parts as I go, so I'm going to be having to do all of this. I would at least want to track it within 1 year if everything goes as planned. So that's pretty much it, guys. We're almost done with the Celica. I'm really excited to get everything connected, wire up my gauges, start the car. I plan on having a 3-inch straight pipe all the way back for a while, and then, you know, do a valved exhaust so I can just valved exhaust so I can just do this and then flip it closed and then flip it open and then flip it closed. So it's just quieter, and then on a road trip that would be much more ideal than listening to the drone of it. And then if you guys are curious, I had the switch installed to my underglow lights for my pedals because, I mean, it looked cool, but I've gotten a lot neater with wiring. Come on, younger teenage me, what were you doing, man? So stay tuned. I have videos ready, but I wanted to make this one this week because I've been meaning to. Stay tuned. Next week's video is gonna go up on time, on schedule, not like I always say. And within the next coming weeks, I'll hopefully have a video ready that I want to do, because a lot of guys just say like 2ZZ swap it, and it's like, if you have a 1ZZ, why not just build it and make more power than you would with a 2ZZ, at least for the same amount of money, you know, so you don't have to spend like $2.5 grand on a good 2ZZ and then swap it in, and instead you could just build the engine you currently have, and you know, you'd save $2,000 and you'd probably be making more power theoretically. I'm working out the ideas, you know. I'm not quite done with the video, but if you guys like this video, like it. If you didn't, I'm so sorry. Dislike it. I'll leave a comment down below, and stay tuned for videos on how I did this headliner. I forgot what other videos I have that I just need to click export, but they're coming. Peace and TRD everything, baby.